Hey everyone, Mherex here bringing you another video. This one is on the zombie apocalypse faction feud that's coming up. We're going to dive into line bonuses and perks and who might be good, who you can expect to see, and all that good stuff. A couple things. The perk sheet on the right was made by 2bob29. It will list the different perks and the cost for each level. The perks you see on the left of the screen are the ones I decided to go with. A lot more perks than I normally would get. Typically I just do MP and then maybe like rank 2 of the gem generation and maybe rank 1 or 2 on an additional one. I'll talk about why I decided to go that route. I do want to talk about some of the perks right off the bat that I don't have. So there's a really interesting submission, protect, and power gem perk. It's relatively inexpensive. You can max it out for 945,000 coin. So that's, in the perk world, pretty cheap. So I think that's got potential to be a good one if you're running a protect gem guy. You know, maybe if you're running Zombie Roman, or if you're running Dango in the open showboat, possibly. I think Fiend might have a protect gem thing going on. I don't have Fiend, so I'm not super knowledgeable on him. I know he's got the sub and the bleed, and those are nasty, but I think he can also do protect gems. So, you know, and then different people have subs, so obviously that's useful for a lot of guys, and it's relatively cheap. The trap gem perk, also pretty cheap. Really solid for a guy like Zombie Rock or anyone relying on a bunch of trap gems. Maybe Zombie Taker. I don't have Taker, so I don't know if really how his traps, how many go out, but I know it's a ton, so I would imagine it would help someone like him. Definitely would help Walter for his trap gem moves. So some people just got Walter last month, so it would definitely help Walter. Column and row break, I don't have anyone really that takes advantage of that. I don't think there's really any zombie that's going to take advantage of that this feud at all, so probably not one that you're going to get or will get, but again, that's another of the cheap ones. So those are the inexpensive ones. Then you have one medium one, and that's the blast gem perk, which I did decide to go with. For me, I decided to go with it because I'm going to be running Earthquake and with his Blast Gem build, and also Zombie Austin with his Blast Gem build. Because of the line bonus on the bottom here, you're going to generate 2 more Blast Gems. They're all going to be worth 100% more damage on the Blast Gems. And then with the perk, he's making 5 more. So I'll be able to turn all of his silence gems into blast gems without having to use Rusev. So I could run him Woods and the yellow MP trainer, and not have to worry so much about finding those yellows. Kind of cover that basis to start. Stun will be ready right away, and then can get a yellow match and blow the whole board up with blast gems that are going to be buffed really well. And then Quake's blast gem, I'll throw Rusev on him, and he'll be making like a bajillion blast gems. Not really, I think like 9 or 10 or something crazy like that. So that's why I decided to go with those. Felt like it was really worth it for the cost. It may not be worth it for you. You don't have to run Zombie Austin that way. If you get the MP up perk, he gets a bonus to his silence gems, so he's going to have a good buff there anyway, regardless of the line bonus. In general, the bottom line bonus is pretty powerful. You get huge damage to your finisher. So some Zombie Rock's finisher is going to be very big. Because he's got a pretty solid finisher on his trap gem moveset. So that might be a route you want to go if you have him. He's pretty rare. But if you face a Zombie Rock and they got the bottom line bonus, you're going to get killed pretty quick. When he hits that finisher, it's going to be really hard. Zombie Kane, I'm going to use him just for his setup. The line bonus doesn't matter at all for him. I don't use his finisher. He's just really, really hard to deal with. Also, the line bonus doesn't help Sako at all. So generally, I'm going against a lot of the advice I will generally give. Put guys in for the line bonus. But I have a lot of really useful guys this time around. So I'm kind of going against that advice, which is strange for me. So I have the bleed perk strictly for Sako. Also, it's going to help Jeff a bunch, and all the new zombies have bleeds so far, so it would help Zombie Balor, Zombie KO. There's a bunch of zombies with bleeds. So Zombie Nakamura, I think, has a bleed too. So I feel like that's going to be a good perk all month long, and I'm kind of a Mick Foley mark, so the more I can run Sako, the better. So that's why I decided to go that route. What you're looking at now is the line or the feud I plan on running. It's 15k for individual wins. However, the solo event looks like it's going to be more dependent on how many battles you win. So speed looks like it's going to be key. I'll probably do a video breaking that one down tomorrow, so that's separate from this. I believe last I heard, and it could still be updated because we don't have Daniel Bryan in this top left spot yet in the game, and that's what I expect to be there. That's what it usually is. So it could update, but last I heard it was still 3 for the minimum. However, I feel like this is generally where they have you use 4 or 5, so 3 would surprise me by the time Feud's live, but last I heard it was still at 3 for a minimum. That's, of course, could change. So this is what I plan on running. There's the open showboat slot here, open powerhouse slot here, and open 5-star slot on the bottom, so you can see all kinds of different potential setups. So for example, if someone had a 5-star Hall of Fame Scott Hall, that finisher would be crazy, just as an example. Because this bottom row, there's a lot of guys you could run. I would honestly expect to see a lot of Kofis in that slot potentially. Guys that were people's first 5-star to bring. The open powerhouse, I would expect to see a lot of Earthquake, a lot of Hogan. Showboat will probably be a bunch of Fiend, maybe some Dango, and that sort of thing. Zombie Roman, if for people that have him, I would think you'd see a lot of him. This middle row in general would be great for a leveled up Zombie Jeff and a Zombie Roman with the bleed. So that would be really good there. I think the line bonuses, really the bottom one is the more powerful of them. I think more people are going to be filling the middle one. Obviously Fiend is going to be super good with the bleed bonus in there, especially if you start adding on the sub perk and the bleed perk. Fiend is going to be pretty nasty. Really, I think this feud is going to be either really fun for people or probably really frustrating, depending on how your zombie army is. So what should you do if you don't have a lot of these overpowered zombies? Well, I would say don't go in very high, because you're not going to want to face someone that can stun lock you with multiple zombies. You're just going to be in for a bad day. So if 3 does stay the minimum and you don't have a bunch of the good zombies, I would try to go with 3. You don't necessarily need to fill a lane. You don't have to fill the middle lane. It may help some of your guys. If it helps enough that it's worth filling, go ahead. Otherwise, kind of fill in as best you can. So I'm going to go back out of here real quick. So you have the open 5-star slot, so you can use that with your best guy. Then you have open showboat and open powerhouse. So if 3 stays the minimum, you could run this feud without having to use a single zombie, and not worry about line bonuses. So don't forget that that's going to be an option. You always want to take your best guys. If 4 or 5 becomes required, then this bottom line could be really, really good. So someone, let's say like Zombie Brock is a pretty solid zombie, a little more common. Maybe you have yours 4-star bronze like me, or 4-star silver. You know, you buff his finisher up a bunch, that's potentially helpful. He does have his trap gems that make blast gems. I did a video on him yesterday if you want to see some of his builds. He's got an MP steal where he can steal purple MP, so Zombie Brock could potentially be a really good one for you down here, because he's got a solid finisher. Zombie Balor was a free one. A lot of people should have him because he was free last year. His finisher's not super hard, but it's not terrible either. He's got a bleed. He can destroy some gems. He's a pretty solid guy, pretty fun, certainly usable. You could also go with a sub build, so you could potentially use him. But I think if your zombie horde isn't very strong, you're going to want to keep it to a minimum and use the open slots. The real problem, guys, this feud, you're going to see a ton of Zombie Austin and a ton of Zombie Kane. If Kane has the boss plate, he is insanely hard to beat. So you're really going to want to watch out for those two. Fiend, you'll see a bunch of Fiend. With the 5-star slot, I would expect to see, like I said, loads of Kofi, you know, Hogan in the open powerhouse, that sort of thing. The main thing is go in with an appropriate roster for the strength of your characters, like normal. Don't fall in love with the line bonuses and feel like you have to fill them, but if you do have the guys, obviously there's some pretty strong line bonuses, so then it makes sense to fill them. Other showboats you could see, I mean, Typhoon, there's always, you know, another free guy you might have. Slick Rick, a lot of people have Slick. Master of the Universe Warrior. Beyond those guys, I don't know how far you want to go on. NWO Show is great, obviously, if you have him. But he's pretty rare, so it's just going to be either a really fun feud or a really tough feud. So be smart. Make sure your line is set up appropriately. Try and pick perks that make sense. Some of the perks I haven't talked about, well, really the only one is the multiply perk. There's not a lot of zombies with multiply gems. Really just Zombie Taker, who's pretty rare. So for me, I don't really think the multiply gem one makes sense this month. It's the most expensive perk there is. It does have the MP down, but you're not going to get a lot of use out of it other than Zombie Taker. Maybe a little bit with open powerhouse for like Hogan, or the open 5-star, you know, maybe some Ricochet, you know, your typical Luke Harper, your typical power or multiply gem guys. So that's a very expensive perk. To me, it's not worth the coin. I'd rather put that into multiple other perks and diversify my team. So I think that's going to cover most of it. Don't fall in love with the line bonuses. I hope it stays 3 as a minimum, because not everyone has a strong zombie team. If it does and you don't have the zombies, definitely go in with 3. Try and win fast and win your matches and get through the solo contest that way. So yeah, I hope this video helped. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I do want to say again, this is the most perks I've probably purchased since perks have been live. So I normally don't buy 3 sets. It's a long month and I like zombies, and I love my Sako, so I had to go with the bleed. And the blast gem's not too expensive, so I feel like it's worth it because I got 2 guys to take advantage of it. So when you're buying your perks, just make sure they make sense. If you got a couple strong trap guys, go for it. You know, if you're using like a Dango and someone that's really good with the sub, go ahead and get the sub protect one. It's relatively cheap. It'll make your team a lot better. So Anyway, guys, thanks for listening. I hope it helps, and I hope you have a great Feud weekend. Good luck out there.